welcome to Sunrise Extra on a Thursday morning. Thank you for joining us live. If you're watching this after the fact, this is what we do every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. And today we are again talking about wildfires. You can see just over my head 37 active fires burning across the state of Oregon. As of this recording this morning, we're at 672,000 acres on fire in our state. It is truly historic. We have 4 mega fires, as they're called, burning at the same time. That's a fire over 100,000 acres. Since 2000, we've had 11 of those, and we have 4 happening simultaneously. So we're going to be showing you some live pictures. This is Sky 8. Flying over Marion County, Chehalem. This is the Chehalem Mountain Bald Peak Fire out by Newburgh and Washington County. There are so many to keep track of, and really, really sad news. We've learned, overnight and yesterday that we are now at least 3 confirmed deaths across the state of folks trying to escape these fires who just couldn't. And that number is going to go up as there are reports of more missing and more presumed dead.
You know what I think is difficult? I just noticed it before we went on the air, and we didn't talk about this, but Nina sat down. She just spit out a lot of information, and you've kind of been going nonstop, as everybody has in the news business. And Nina sat down, and I heard, and that's what I get asked quite a bit in my years of doing this, is like, how do you cover so much tragedy, especially when it's of this scope and it's historic? And I don't know, Drew, Rod, if you guys feel the same way, but I feel like this, because it's come on the heels of everything else, even if it didn't, you're looking at people in so much pain, and it's a sudden tragedy. Like something happens, the flames rip through and they destroy entire towns. And I feel like my nerves are raw. They really are. When I look out, my heart just breaks for everything that's happening right now.
When we're doing the newscast, when we're doing Sunrise Extra, I think of it as just having a conversation with someone, right? Opening up the TV and there's someone to tell you about some stories. Now, are these the stories that I would choose to have a conversation about over dinner? Not typically, right? These are tough stories, and we're covering them day after day, story after story. It's been going on now for obviously months with the pandemic, the protests, now the fires. And it is difficult, and I think we are all in the same boat where we really do look forward to those 2 days on the weekend where you do finally get a chance to maybe decompress for a moment before it inevitably seems to restart again on Mondays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just heavy. We're trying to, keep track of numbers and then hearing people's stories. Yeah. So let's get you to some facts right now. Maggie Vespa joining us this morning, reporting live for us down near Staten, one of the biggest fires burning in the state. Lots of evacuations, and that is, Maggie, where we heard the awful, awful news that a 12-year-old boy died in those flames. What's the latest from where you are? Kind of describe the conditions.
Sure. In fact, I'll have Chad pull the camera back a little bit here and zoom out. I don't know if you guys can tell, because sometimes cameras don't do these conditions justice, but I feel like this is really hard to miss. I mean, just the ash and smoke here near Staten, where Highway 22 is closed. It's just so eerie, guys. And I know that's obvious, but just what you were talking about, I was listening to what you were saying about how it really is hard to cover tragedy after tragedy, like what we're seeing just in 2020. And visuals like this that are inescapable and unwavering and just consistent really add to, the anxiety I think that we're feeling, and our viewers tell us they're feeling. It's like you walk out your door and you can't escape it. So here, we can smell it. This is a level 2 evacuation zone, which basically means get ready to leave. We're not that far from the level 3 zone of the Santiam fire, which is the one where we had the first fatality. We now have 3, but we had the first confirmed fatality of these fires. So again, this is Staten at Highway 22, and we, talked about that fatality, and it feels like such a clinical word to use. It was a 12-year-old boy who was killed trying to escape the flames with his family. That's kind of according to the sheriff's office in Marion County and to family and loved ones. His name was Wyatt Tofty. And deputies and authorities found his remains with that of his dog. So we're talking about a boy and his dog who loved ones say was trying to escape the fire with his grandmother, who's been presumed dead, but her remains haven't been found yet. And then we're also told his mother is in the hospital in Portland, Legacy Emmanuel, with severe burns. And so that was as a result of the fire that's creating the haze that we're seeing around us. That's the Santiam fire. It's one of the largest ones. I think it is the largest at this point. It's moving very quickly, as a lot of these fires are. And a family friend told the Statesman Journal that they were indeed trying to escape the flames. And in fact, Wyatt's remains and that of his dog were found inside the family's car, not far from their home, which was destroyed by the fire. So unfortunately, state officials predicted that there would be, and they are still predicting there will be many more fatalities, and we know many people are missing and or presumed dead. And so Nina, I saw you noted on Twitter, and you're right, I mean, that number is expected to go up. We now have 3 confirmed deaths, Wyatt being the first, and we're basically waiting to hear about more. But you know, we just keep talking about what we've been covering and just how many tragedies have been piling up, and just seeing the visual that none of us can escape. Like, you step outside your house and it's there, and it's just a reminder of how historic and how awful these fires are that we're all dealing with.
I've got to say, the thing that struck me covering the governor's news conference yesterday was real talk. I mean, she started out that news conference and she said, I just want to brace all Oregonians. You know, basically saying things are going to get bad. You know, they're going to get worse. We're going to see the loss of property and the loss of life at a historic level as it relates to wildfires. We haven't seen anything like this, of this magnitude, in like 120 years, you know, as far as some of those records go back. And that struck me, Drew, yesterday as I listened to her speak, just the gravity from the top down of hitting us of what we're going through.
That press conference went a little late yesterday. You were still on the air covering that press conference after 1 o'clock, and I've been home already. I actually was watching you, and I could actually tell, Brenda, I think I've worked with you long enough, I could tell the way it hit you. I could tell that you felt the gravity of that press conference and the words from the governor yesterday. And just getting back to what Maggie just spoke about, because sometimes, and in fact, we talked about this a few weeks ago here on Sunrise Extra, sometimes when we're dealing with stories with huge numbers, and in this case, we're dealing with huge numbers in terms of acreage, in terms of the number of people who have been evacuated, those numbers get so large we can't really wrap our minds around it, right? I really don't know what 600,000 plus acres really looks like. It's tough to really imagine. But when you narrow it down, you start talking about the individual stories, that's where it hits home. And we don't know how many lives have already been lost. Firefighters are still trying to get a handle on many of these fires. We had some viewers commenting about, I wish they would talk about how some of these fires started. They never do that. It's pretty maddening. Well, the problem is firefighters haven't been able to get to the source, you know, to the start of these fires yet, to really pinpoint.
And they said they haven't even started working on putting them out. They're like, you know, just right now working on evacuating. And I mean, really, they are stretched so thin. Last night on The Story with Dan Haggerty, he kind of broke down all of the big water dropping and fire retardant, you know, like National Guard choppers that we have, and a bunch of them are over in Afghanistan. You know, they were already over there well before this all started. And so we're working with a smaller amount of firefighting apparatus. I saw some other people here on the stream asking about Clark County, because there is a fire burning there, and I just found the website for it. It's called the Big Hollow Fire. It's burning near Paradise Hills. This is like northeast of Battleground in the Green Mountain area. And there are level 1 be on alert orders, and there are level 2 be ready to go orders. And I can tweet out the link to this, but not a lot of information coming out from that one right now. We are keeping tabs on it near the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest.
Rod, maybe you can jump in and give everybody kind of an update on what we can expect weather-wise over the next several days, because wind has been the big story, but things are changing in that department.
Let me start with some more information about the Big Hollow Fire, which is again, it's in the that Mount Adams Park Ranger District, as Nina mentioned, starting in Skamania County, now spreading, you know, toward Clark County. I'm not sure if it's actually crossed the Clark County line, but Nina, it has if it's threatening that Green Mountain area. I do know that.
Those are just on,
so
level
that
1
fire yesterday. That fire was 6,000 acres yesterday. They thought it would reach 10,000 today. I saw one report from a viewer. I can't confirm it, but they may have checked somewhere that's absolutely right, where the fire had reached 20,000 acres. So a lot of people in Clark County concerned with that fire. I will tell you, as the east winds continue to calm, which they are doing almost minute by minute now, that's good news, that will help slow that westward push of that big hollow fire. And those winds, even along the gorge itself, expected to go flat and actually flip around to the west tomorrow morning, and maybe by tomorrow morning. And overall, that is terrific, terrific news. You guys want me to go to a weather map or two?
Yes, let's do it.
We've got obviously we've got the air quality warnings out. We got the fire weather warnings out. You know, it was yesterday afternoon that Portland finally got underneath that same. It's basically the same big smoke cloud that's been sitting over Lebanon and Salem and Newport for going all the way back to Labor Day night into Tuesday morning. So we're on the northern edge of that in Portland now, and our forecast models say that we stay on the northern edge. So if that's the case, Portland will not get any sun today. We'll just stay overcast. The air quality starting off this morning a moderate, but that could worsen during the day. We still have all those hazardous air quality reports, the brick color when you get south down towards Salem and then farther south toward Corvallis and Albany. And so with the winds continuing to lighten up and not becoming as big of the story, the one thing we're watching is this Futurecast smoke forecast. This magenta smoke plume, which Portland's on the northern edge of at 7 o'clock this morning. Forecast models blow this a little bit more to the north during the day today, even keeping Cowlitz County overcast. And now notice as I push the button and play this into tomorrow. Notice how the smoke actually moves big time to the east. It's sunny right now in Hood River, for example. It's been sunny over in Bend. But tomorrow, this blows all that thick smoke over Central Oregon, over the Cascades, out through the gorge. That would worsen some of your air quality. And the reason it's going to be moving like that is that return to a westerly flow. So on the one hand, the west flow is great. It reduces fire danger, but it's going to take that smoke that we've been blowing out over the Pacific and start blowing the old smoke, if you will, back inland. So that's a mess. I don't think we have a chance, as you look at the 7-day, to get out of the smoke until at the earliest we'll see the smoke start to maybe thin Saturday afternoon. It could be Sunday or Monday, though, and eventually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we still have those rain chances, which are looking pretty doggone good, actually, right now. And the forecast, I'm pulling up the very latest on that as I'm talking to you, because I want to get to, well, yesterday forecast models are showing we could be looking at maybe 1/4 of an inch or more of rain on some of those days. Now the modeling that came out in the past 2 hours shows more like traceable amounts to 1/10 of an inch, but at least it will be cooler. And the winds will be west and the humidity levels will be up, and that's all good news, guys.
No, it is good news. I love this on the stream, you guys. Carrie Myers, good morning to you. In all caps, she says, thank you to all the heroes fighting these fires relentlessly for days now. I mean, they really are. And to think that some of these firefighters and their families are in the evacuation zones. Of course, they live in the communities that they work in. And so they're going through all the personal stuff while still being on the fire lines. As Rod was talking, my executive producer got in my ear and said, there's a new school closure. The Mount Angel School District is closing. I know we've talked about this a lot this week. Some of the districts, even though it's online learning, are really close to the fires. Others are having power outages, so the kids can't hop online and the computers to do their schoolwork. But Mount Angel School District announced it will not have class today. You'll remember that Estacada and Malala River also announced earlier this week that they're going to be closed until Monday, for the rest of this week.
Brenda, you mentioned the firefighters, and obviously firefighters throughout the area, the entire state into Southwest Washington, doing incredible work this week. And I'll tell you that my wife's dad, retired Portland firefighter. Her brother is also a part of Portland Fire, so there's a special place in our house for the firefighting community. But I also want to make sure that we give a shout out to law enforcement, the deputies, the police officers.
Door to door.
Literally going door to door.
Yeah.
Correct. Stopping people from entering those areas that have been evacuated, going door to door to try to get, we're telling people to get out of certain areas, and those law enforcement personnel are going into those very areas to knock on doors and to try to get people out. And I definitely think at this time especially that it's indeed proper to give the shout out and to give thanks to law enforcement this week as well.
Yeah, for sure. I saw Katie Coleman on our stream. She says she made a GoFundMe.
Right.
If that's not a trusted site, please let me know. Katie, I would say the most trusted place is the Red Cross. And
we can actually show the link right here, I think.
Partnered with them to create a fund that, I mean, last night, when I left here yesterday, it was at $30,000 when the fund kind of first started. Last night on the news, I heard it was $100,000.
I heard that too.
I'm sure, it's well over that by now this morning. But donate to the Red Cross, because they get that cash exactly where it needs to go, whether it's, pet food for people or hotel room vouchers or, just supplies or clothing or something. But they are really the most trusted source when something like this happens.
So there's that screen we were hoping to bring up. There it is. If you actually take your phone, just point your camera at that QR code, it will take you to a link where you can donate to what we're calling the KGW Northwest Response Fund. We're in partnership with the American Red Cross, and not that I don't appreciate all of the GoFundMe pages that people have set up in an effort to try to help out, but I can tell you right now that this is a trusted site. The American Red Cross doing incredible work statewide right now. Your money will help local families that really need that help. If you're in a position where you can help right now,
I just got an update from our producer, and there, right there, you see it. It's now at over $339,000 that you guys have donated in just less than 2 days. Really, you can see 3,000 people have donated to that, and this is a special Red Cross fund where the money will go directly to wildfire victims, and it's just. I mean, right now is a crazy time, like you think officials and all these websites are set up and they're aggregating all this information. But I mean, just Googling around this morning, we were confused at the number of fatalities. Obviously we've been reporting on the 12-year-old boy. And then I went down to our sister station in Medford, and they have a headline there, that one person was found dead at the Alameda fire. It started at a BMX bike park in the city of Ashland. That's under criminal investigation now, whether, it was intentional or accidentally started, but a person's body was discovered at that BMX park. That was the first I had heard of it. And so it's really hard in these initial stages where things are so spread out and people are scrambling around for these government agencies to kind of get together and get all these numbers. But
and then I just want to point out, as we talk about the relief fund, if you didn't get your camera out to get the QR code at the bottom of your screen there, you can just text us the word relief. If you go 503-226-5088, then we'll send you a link to that as well. This is just another, way to get involved if you're able.
We have 1,000 people watching us live right now here on the Facebook stream, at least, and I know many more will see this as the day rolls on our Facebook page. We want to share some of the viewer photos that are coming in right now, because you guys have done a great job of helping us tell the story of what's going on in the area right now. These are some that we just got in, looking at them for the first time with you. This photo was taken in Corrine Vineyard in Newburgh yesterday morning. This is from that Bald Peak fire we've been talking about, the kind of borders between Yamhill and Washington counties. Thank you, John, for sending in this photo. Another one from Wilsonville. I believe this is from 5:30 this morning, so just a couple of hours ago. This was the scene in Wilsonville. Much more red in the sky there from this shot, Malino, at 3 p.m. September 9th. So that was 3 p.m. yesterday. Michael, thank you for sending in this photo for us. Continuing to go around the area, this was taken from the top of Mountain Park in Lake Oswego. That looks to be about the time of the sunrise or sunset, and it is kind of difficult to tell these days because unfortunately the smoke dominates the skies in both the morning and the evening right now. Another photo from one of our viewers here coming into the newsroom. It has been a really difficult week. It's hard to believe that Labor Day was on Monday. It seems like it was weeks ago at this point, because the last 72 hours have been so filled with these images and these stories that we're sharing from across the state. This is from the Unger fire in Colton. We know that area has been hit hard this week, one of those areas that is dealing with evacuation notices. And then here's one more for you, just east of Coos Bay. This was taken Tuesday morning. Governor Brown on the air yesterday talking about this really being a statewide issue. And in the 120 years of record keeping, we can say that we have never experienced a week like we're experiencing right now, with the number of fires and the number of acres that are being covered by those fires right now in the state.
This is a picture from Sky 8 right now. They've been under some flight restrictions, understandably, with the fire mapping and the winds and the smoke. They are headed toward Clark County, Estacada, I'm sorry. They're headed to the Riverside fire in Estacada that has evacuated the entire city, 30,000 people, as it started, what now, 2 days ago at least? And that is one of the biggest in the state right now. Of course, a Riverside fire, 112,000 acres, 0%
When you look out at that picture, that is all smoke. There is no cloudy sky.
Yeah, Ron said it would be blue sky today.
Smoke, if it weren't for the wildfires.
If it wasn't for smoke, yeah.
Perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can call it overcast, but it's not the overcast that we're used to.
Precisely.
Rod, I heard your voice.
Yeah, I'm
Chime in.
Well, I mean, I'm calling it a big smoke cloud. You know, there's a little bit of a marine push in southern Oregon that's producing some low clouds along the coast down there. But otherwise, when you look at a satellite picture, I showed you that visible shot we had earlier in the show, everything is smoke formed or smoke induced right now. We would be perfectly clear, as we normally are, with an east wind blowing. So it's crazy how thick and how wide. I mean, this is a cloud that basically, a smoke cloud that extends now from at least northern Clark County all the way down to around Eugene. That is basically a large smoke plume, or at least, you know, the smoke particles have become condensation nuclei and form this cloud. But that's huge, right? From Eugene up through northern Clark County, for crying out loud, if not farther south than Eugene.
We're taking that live picture, Rod.
To fathom.
As you're saying all that, we're taking that live picture. Can we show it one more time? Because we're all just kind of staring at what we should point out is the sun. It's not Mars. That's not Mercury.
It's
we're talking
not the
about
moon.
the sun.
It just is amazing how small it makes it. Woo, as it's banking to the left.
I almost want to apologize because we had so many comments on the stream today. Admittedly, too many to keep up with, but we do appreciate everyone who's been jumping on with us these last few days for these sometimes difficult editions of Sunrise Extra as we talk about the hardships that many in our viewing area are going through right now. But Katie Coleman says, I didn't think I was going to get called out. Katie, if you're new to the program, that's how it works.
That's what we do. We love to shout you out and say good morning to you guys. So thank you all for tuning in. We do it every Monday through Friday right here at 7 o'clock. Some days it's fun. Let's hope for those days again.
Yeah, keep the conversation going. You can always post.
Yeah. All right, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Be well.